under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, welcome everybody. Kind of an early meeting. I'd like to welcome all the student leaders. Thanks for being here. I know we kind of threw some dates around on you and some time change, so thanks for being here tonight. Principal Crump, you're coming in remote, so thanks for being here also. With that, we'll look at the agenda. We do have two additions that came to the agenda. They're going to be 6.3 and 6.4 under finance. 6.3 is to accept the donation of $1,000 for the FFA program from the Night Riders Snowmobile Club. And 6.4 is to accept the donation of $1,000 to the FAA program from Columbia Ag Scholarship Fund. So those are the only two additions that I have. Does anybody else have anything that needs to be added to the agenda or struck? If not, be looking for a motion to approve the agenda with those two changes. So moved. Second. Chris or Scott? Okay. So I got a motion by Director Trujillo, second by Director Christian to approve the agenda. Does anybody oppose? Okay, the unanimous consent, the agenda passes with those changes. Consent agenda. Does anybody need anything removed or to talk about off the consent agenda?
I just have a question about the board and transfer report.
Would you like the board transfer pulled?
No, I just was wondering, I saw on there that there was two rather large bus repairs.
Yes.
Which bus and what was wrong with it?
Oh. I'd have to confirm that with Jean to be sure. I don't want to misspeak. I think we had one that was up by Grand Forks for quite a while. It wasn't the one that we're sending off, that we're getting rid of.
Right.
It's route buses that we've been using.
Yeah, you can just look into it and let me know.
I will do that.
Just curious.
Anything else sitting out of that? If not, I'll be looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved. Second.
A motion by Director Manicki, second by Director Trujillo to approve the consent agenda as presented. Does anybody oppose? Hearing no opposition, motion passes by unanimous consent. Public comments. Any public? No comments, nobody coming in on anything, so we're good there. Elementary student leaders, welcome. We'll go ahead and turn it over to you guys.
Thank you. We have all sixth graders with us today. Braylon Sater, Clayton Lennis, and Ellis Weiner are here to talk to you today.
Hi.
Hello.
I'm Braylon. I'm going to talk about what it was like to drop off all the toiletries at the food shelf. So, when we first got there, when we were loading things onto the bus, it was really full. Some people were even standing in the aisle because boxes were just really filling up seats. And when we got there, we formed a line out of the back of the bus, and we passed all the boxes down the line. And after we did that, we took some pictures, and then Sandy talked, and she was talking about how normally people donate food to the food shelf because that's the first thing that comes to mind. But she said that it was really good that we brought toiletries because people normally don't think about that. And then she talked about some other stuff like that. And we have, it felt really good to give to the community because if you could imagine not being able to have your own food, or you needed like help and you just couldn't get your own food, you would feel really bad. And so it felt really good to give to the community. And we gave over 5,000 toiletries, so it was pretty great.
Great job. Yeah.
Thanks, Braylon. She just wanted to follow up because at the last school board meeting, we hadn't brought the stuff to the food shelf yet. So thanks for following up on that, Braylon.
Amanda, the news story they did was after you brought the stuff up there, correct?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. It was a nice story. So.
Yeah, it was really nice. They did a really nice job on that. Ellis, do you want to talk about dress-up days for next week?
I'm Ellis, and so the student leaders decided that we should have dress-up days the 20th through the 22nd, so we could have something fun to do before we go out on break, Christmas break. And so Monday, we decided it's winter day, dress in half summer, half winter clothes. Tuesday, you're a mean one, Mr. Grinch day. Dress in green, dress in Grinch clothes, or dress like a Who from Whoville. And Wednesday, Jingle Bells Day, you can wear like Christmas shirts, socks, headwear, jewelry.
Good deal. You looking forward to it?
Yeah.
Good.
It's supposed to be cold on Monday.
They'll be warm.
Clayton, do you want to talk about your service project for December?
Yes, so we have decided, in our past student, leader, meeting, and Mrs. Chase was there too, and we decided that we're gonna, Mrs. Chase was there. We decided that we're gonna send cards, to people from Fosston or with people with a Fosston connection to those, actively serving our country, like, also known as like the other, the military and personnel and everyone serving our country. We're just gonna we're writing cards for them and just trying to send them like a Merry Christmas and like good wishes from Fosston, because that's like where they originated. Well, that's where they used the people graduated from or came from. And we're also thanking them for their service, like I kind of stated before, and that we appreciate them and are thinking about them.
I think that's a great thing. How many cards will you be sending out, do you know?
We are sending out 3 cards per person, and I'm not sure exactly how many student leaders we have in our group right now, but Miss Amanda could probably tell you that. So it's 3 a person right now.
Because there's quite a few people from Fosston that serve in the military, so I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, it's awesome. I like it. I'm done with 2 cards already, so we got to turn our cards in on Thursday.
Good deal. Very good.
It'll be almost 60 cards.
Okay, so about 20.
Yeah, so it'll be really fun. The families that we've reached out to, that we've heard from that have addresses, have been really thankful that people are thinking about their kids at Christmas, and people that are even just have a Fosston connection, that people care about them, and especially if they're stationed overseas or even somewhere in the U.S. and aren't able to come home for Christmas. So it's been really cool. The kids are going to have a fun time with this project, and they're going to turn them in all, like Clayton said, all in on Thursday, so that we can get them out to them before Christmas. So it's something we haven't done before, but I think it'll be a really touching thing for those people that are not able to be home at Christmas.
No, great thing. Anything else from elementary? Student leaders? Amanda, will you stay on through the senior high one?
Yep, for sure.
You have your group stay on too for a minute, so.
Yep, you guys can all just stay on until the senior high is done, okay, guys?
Okay, so we'll turn it over to high school student council report.
Hey, I have Ellie here, and she's just going to talk about what we're doing here in December for student council.
Okay, so we're going to be selling cookies alongside FFA when they sell hot cocoa on Monday and Tuesday. during both junior high and senior high lunch periods. We're going to be selling frosted sugar cookies that we're getting from a local baker, Sweet Treats by Sheila, and we'll be selling them as a fundraiser for $2 a piece. We're also going to be doing dress-up days next week, and Monday will be dress like your favorite Christmas movie character, so that'll be fun. Tuesday is Christmas or regular pajama day, and Wednesday is ugly Christmas sweater day. And that's what we have going on for next week in December.
So you guys having any type of last day before Christmas break celebration then?
The dress-up days are kind of like just a fun thing that we'll do that I feel like will get people kind of excited for winter break.
Okay. Okay, yeah, good idea. No? Anything else from high school student council?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
Yeah, not
So-
at this time. We're looking at our next project. We don't have anything planned. We're kind of hoping to do something after we come back from break. Maybe a clothing drive was an idea that we had. Winter hats and gloves, mittens and stuff are still definitely a high need in January. So we're going to look into that as an option in January. But as of right now, that's all we've got for December.
Okay, well, great. Well, to both groups, anybody have anything else you want to add to this? To both groups, student leaders, high school and elementary school, it's amazing what you guys have accomplished. And the leadership skills that you guys have shown and the things you've done for the community have just been great. And I mean, when you look at a program like that, and kudos to your advisors, you can't expect anything more than that. I mean, you guys have been recognized, you know, from the region level, you know, news stations and things like that, on all the good deeds you've done. And I think as a board, I'd like to just stand, give them applause. So thank you very much. You guys have a Merry Christmas and we'll see you in the new year.
Good job, everybody.
Thank you so much. We appreciate your support.
Yes, thank you very much. Have a Merry Christmas.
Okay.
Thank you. Merry Christmas to you all.
Merry Christmas. Christmas. So finance, we'll move on to 6.1 and it's the audit report. And Sue, you have, I think everybody got some information Tina sent out, I think earlier today or yesterday, just on the final parts of the audit report. There really was no change to occur
No.
from what we had.
No change from the financial part of it. There were some findings that, I think there was one food service finding that they had touched on before. But beyond that, we met all the federal requirements in spending our federal monies. And so the reason for the delay was that extra federal level audit, and it resulted in nothing changed from when they presented it. So, and the financial piece, like I said, is exactly what they said it would be.
Any questions or concerns that were brought up out of that? I mean, everybody had time to review it. It was quite a while ago too. Not, we'll be looking, because now we have the final report to approve it.
Motion to approve it. Second.
We got a motion by Director Trillo, second by Director DePong to approve the annual audit report given by Brady Martz as presented. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Fund balance report.
As you look at the fund balance report, this is with the new budget that we adopted. You can see we're still sitting, in comparison to last year, we're still sitting with good balances in each of our funds. And you know that I like to look at that percentage report because that tells us kind of, are we on track with our expenditures? You know, we're approaching 6 months into our fiscal year, you know, so anything within that 30% range of expenditures would be considered on track. And you can see we're sitting right there. Actually, you know, 30% would be tracking really well. Let's put it that way, and we are. So that tells us that, our budget practices and what we proposed were pretty much in line. Our expenditure, or our revenues are also kind of in that same range. The one thing that I would share in terms of revenue, with our federal funds, and we know that our federal funds make up a significant portion of our expenditures, our revenue and our expenditures this year, we have to expend the money and then we claim it back. And then they send it to us. So sometimes it may look like the expenditures and the revenues are misaligned. They really aren't. We just have to wait a little bit to get those federal monies. And Joan claims them at least quarterly, but I think more frequently than that. So we spend them, then we claim them and get them back. Any questions about any of this? Oh, and then we paid off our obligations to our contractors. We finally paid the retainage. Neil and I agreed that things had been done the way we expected and or the way we wanted them to be done, and it was time to release that. So you can see at the bottom of this report, there is a balance of $161,229.08 left in the bond fund. We do have some expenditures for some furniture at the high school that we didn't get ordered the first time. They kind of forgot some things that are important, like stools for the science class and things like that. So the rough estimate of what we will have left will be around $155,000. And I know that the LTFM committee had some recommendations about LTFM projects that we could assign to that, and so. But we do need to get that expended. I would say by next summer, we should probably try and get that money used up. We don't want to leave it sitting there too long.
That makes sense. I mean, that's taxpayers' money that we use for a purpose.
Any questions?
All right, if not, we'll move on to 6.3, which is accept a donation of $1,000 towards the FFA program from Night Riders Snowmobile Club. My understanding and input from whoever else knows about this, I happened to talk to Paul Nelson, who's one of the board of directors for Night Riders Snowmobile and Club, and apparently last Friday they came in and did the FFA, several of them came in along with the instructor, came in and did a presentation requesting some funds, and the Snowmobile Club was more than happy, and they were impressed with the presentation to give that donation.
And I will say I've sat with them as they presented to a different organization, and they really are doing a nice job. And it's students that typically aren't involved in those kinds of leadership roles. They really are stepping up and doing a nice job.
Do they have that money earmarked for anything?
I'm sure Mrs. Donovan does, yes. I'm sure they give specific things for their ask. That's how they have done it in the past.
So we'll be looking for a motion to accept that from the Night Riders. Many, many thanks.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Director DePong, second by Director Christian to accept the donation of $1,000 toward the FFA program from Night Riders Snowmobile Club. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. There again with thanks. 6.4 is to accept the donation of $1,000 toward the FFA program, only the same one, from Columbia Ag Scholarship Fund. Anybody from Columbia Township here? Oh, you are? Columbia Township here. Okay, so do you know about this fund? No, I didn't. Okay. So, apparently, the Columbia Township has an Ag Scholarship Fund that they have set aside. And I'm not sure exactly, I was talking to Russell Salfit for a few minutes about it, that their fund has grown pretty good over the years, and so they decided also with this presentation to make another donation out of that fund. If you have more questions about it, I guess I would talk to probably Russell or Sorgart, I think, are the other ones involved. So looking for a motion to accept the donation with thanks. Motion by Trelio.
Second.
Motion by Director Trelio, second by Director Manicki to accept the donation of $1,000 toward the FFA program from Columbia Ag Scholarship Fund. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. There again with many thanks. Reports, moving on, elementary school report. Principal Bushy.
Yes, item number one, just an update on our enrollment, and unfortunately, we dropped 2 students just this week. They had moved, they had a family move. So that brought us down to 300 total K through 6, and then total pre-K through 6, we have 362. So, any questions on enrollment? On December 3rd, item number 2, we held our annual silent auction, and the total amount raised was $730. And those monies raised will be used to purchase holiday meals to give to families in our school community who are in need at Christmas time. So that was a huge success at the elementary. I think last year we were around the $400 mark. So everybody upped the ante this year, which is great. One thing I want to add to this in regards to donated monies, we had a family in need, lost their home due to a fire, and we just did a within district monetary donation. There was $675 raised for the family, and then there was numerous items that were donated to. I just delivered a bed to the family tonight too, so that was donated.
So I think the student leaders got together and they sent them like some gift cards for groceries or something like
Yep.
that as well.
Yep. So very, I mean, when we talk about community service, not only with our student leaders, but also the staffs district-wide, just like to thank everybody for their donations and kind heart. Item number 3, we have our Christmas mini choir concerts coming up, and that's for grades 4 through 6. Our first mini concert is Friday, December 17th, and that'll be from 9 a.m. to 9:15. And then I listed the other dates on Monday, December 20th, Tuesday, December 21st. Again, that's for grades 4 through 6. So we're looking forward to that. There's been a lot of preparation in regards to that, and we're excited about hosting, although it's modified than what we're used to. We decided to break it up a little bit to keep everybody safe. And that was the option that we went with. In January, there'll be 6th grade band mini concerts, and we don't have those dates set yet, but I will get those out to everybody as soon as possible. But looking forward to that. And it's been a lot of work, especially on the choir end with Mrs. Kanishny. I wish I had the total number of kids in choir. It's a large number. And we typically do every year for choir for grades 4 through 6, but we're looking forward to a good show.
Are these recorded then?
They won't be live streamed.
Okay, but
Hopefully we get them recorded.
Okay.
We can do something in-house with that. I know that we weren't able to set up a live stream, but we can set up an iPad or something and hopefully record it and post. Any questions on it? Okay. Then I have our Students of the Month for November. In kindergarten, Savannah Manicki. Sybil Paulson. First grade, Vasily Piatkov and Allie Davis. Second grade, Shay Berkeley and Lydia Sater. Third grade, Caden Esposito and Jaden Juby. Fourth grade, Jackson Clark and Antonina Piatkov. Fifth grade, Landon Bushy and Hannah Fonder. And sixth grade, Tucker Nyland, Jones Johnson. So I'd like to congratulate those students. The kids get really excited, and I know that I just got to connect with Ed at the 13 towns because we need to post our September, October, and November in the paper and get those out as soon as possible. So we will make sure that we promote that and get those out in a timely fashion. Item number 5, our first graders will be attending the Rotary Luncheon Thursday. Thursday. Last year, we weren't able to participate. Usually we have our first graders singing at the Rotary. Unfortunately, this year they won't be able to because we had a lot of preparation with our choir concerts. But there is an adult choir, and they'll be performing, and then we have a special guest from Santa Claus. So first graders will enjoy that, and then they'll have a meal and hopefully have a lot of discussion with the Rotary members. So it's always a very positive experience for our kids to go there and for the Rotary. So, any questions on that? Item number 6. Now I wish I wanted to complete the report so I could share some data with you. I will have that in January, our January meeting. I'll have some actual data for you guys to look at. But we completed our second round of testing in November. And I think it's very interesting to look at. And they've come out with some different reports. The one report I was looking at is over the past 3 years, where you can look at and gauge where you're at, basically. And especially with COVID here and dealing with that, just to kind of look and see where we're at. And basically right now, if I produce the report, it would show the 2 tests, but in the 2 years prior, it would show the complete year. So it's when you look at it, it's skewed, and I'll explain it to you in January, but I'm very pleased with where we're at in regards to that certain assessment and where I think your kids are at, where they're going. So, like I said, unfortunately, I just wasn't able to create it and get it to you guys, but in January, I will have that. So in January, I think we'll have completed 3, so that'll be up-to-date information going into our spring. And it provides an opportunity. I can look at grades 3 through 6 where they can project state performance. And that's also very good data just to take a look at. It doesn't pinpoint anything. It just gives you some feedback.
It'll be interesting to see. It really, with everything.
So in January, I'll have that for you guys.
Any questions or anything else for Principal Bushy? If not, we'll move along. High school principal report. Principal Crump, are you with us?
Yes. First thing, I'm going to go off script a little bit just to let the board know. I know that Mike, you had let Mrs. Donovan know about our Cross Lake property, and I just wanted to let you guys know that the ag classes are going to be utilizing that property tomorrow and Thursday, going out there for doing some field trips. Fish and Wildlife is already starting to go out there and put it to good use.
Great.
So she thanks you for the tip, and Mrs. Donovan would like to come and present to the board. Hopefully we can get that on the docket for January.
Great, we look forward to that.
All right. First item is training for Josh Pearson. I just wanted to kind of comment on this. We've been expanding out our career and technical education programs, and one of the items we purchased through a grant that was purchased for the school, I should say, is our CNC machine. And we've done some things like cutting boards and unique projects, but Mr. Pearson is going to a training in December on the 29th at Bemidji State University that's put on through the Pine Prairie Cooperative, and he's going to be learning how to do lake relief maps using the CNC machine. So our students he'll in turn train the students when he comes back on how to do that, so kids can do the recessed lake relief maps. If you've ever seen those before, that's pretty spectacular. Any questions?
Is that something they plan on making available for sale, or is it just a project for them right now?
We look at how it'll expand out. Anything that we do for that would be for sale potentially would be ran through the class, and typically we're not mass producing items because then it cuts down on the quality.
Yeah, okay.
We look for one-off items, so it might be something that once the students get a handle on and can adequately run themselves and get those things put together, they could do lake relief maps for purchase from the community.
Okay, that'll be good.
Mm-hmm. Second item up is our honor roll, and I know this one's a little behind, but I just wanted to share that information with the board. We had 84 students on the A honor roll and 73 students on the B honor roll for a total of 157 students out of our enrollment at the time was 282 students. So that's 56% of the students at Fosston High School were on the A and B honor roll for the first quarter. So kudos to the hardworking students and staff for that. The next item, number 3, was just a kind of a continuation of what Principal Bushy said about our holiday meals for families. The National Honor Society, working with their advisor, Rebecca Hansen, and our school social worker, Ellen Bolduc, raised $660 at the high school for a penny war, they called it. They donated money and teachers volunteered, and the teachers with the highest amount in their bucket received a pie to the face. And in 6 days, the students and staff at the high school raised $660. And then the National Honor Society and Ellen and Becky turned that into 27 meals for families in our community. And the meals include a ham, potatoes, fruit, cereal, pancake mix, syrup, meat and cheese and crackers, peanut butter, jelly, bread, and then the National Honor Society made puppy chow to go along with for those families. And on top of getting all that together, they're boxing it up and getting it ready for our families to come and pick up. Questions on the holiday meals?
Do they have a list of families they're delivering to, or are they turning them over to somebody to have them delivered? Or?
Ellen had been contacted by some families that were in the area that could benefit from the food, and they're coming to the school to pick up holiday gifts. That's another thing that we do. We provide some gifts for families in need and meals, so that they'll be coming to the high school and getting those picked up, and then a few of them will be delivered as well. Item number 4, bridge testing. If any of you have seen Mr. Bernston's Intro to Chemistry and Physics class, this is the time of year where they're building their bridges, and they'll be stress testing them on Tuesday the 21st at 1 p.m. Parents are able to attend. We will be in the old gym. And if you haven't seen that event before, I encourage you to come in and check that out as board members. The kids put several weights until their bridge breaks, and students will be down observing. Some classes that have free time that want to come and observe will be able to see that, but the students also get to put their science skills to good use.
That's the toothpick bridges, correct?
Yes, that's the toothpick bridges.
What day was that on, Dominic?
Tuesday, the 21st of December at 1 p.m. And that's typically our 9th grade students. Also, it wasn't on the principal's report, but there is our choir and band concert is Thursday the 16th. That's this Thursday at 7 p.m. and that will be in our main gymnasium. And our enrollment is up 2 students. We added a 7th grader and a 10th grader from November. So, any other questions?
Any other questions for Principal Crum? This just for both you and Principal Bushy. I'm sure the holidays coming up are going to be a nice break for the staff. But overall, how's the staff holding up?
I mean, on any typical year, it's the grind right now, and everybody's looking forward to the break. But gauging the elementary, everybody is right on track. I mean, everybody is looking forward to break, but persevering, making it through. Just considering all the different factors. Much better this year than at this time last year.
Principal Crum?
Yes, I would echo that sentiment. I think our staff and our students are ready for the break. On the 22nd, on our half day, we're running a shortened schedule, so they'll get to go to each of their teachers' classrooms for 25 minutes. And because of the shortened day there, it'll be more of kind of some holiday activities and things like that. Some chance to connect with their students, with the staff and students to connect, that some of them might do a little bit of parties and items like that, just kind of a more relaxing, ease into the break type of day. And And I think, yeah, like Dan said, our staff is ready for the break. They've been working hard, as you can see by those honor roll things and pieces like that. And our students and staff are really putting in a good effort. It's we're in a better place than we were last December, I can say, but we're still working to kind of recover.
Okay, well, great, thank you. All right, Superintendent Report, Superintendent Chase.
Yeah, give me just a minute to pull that back up. So that you can see the written report. I'm not going to cover everything that's in the written report because in light of time. I do want to hit on the Minnesota Student Survey that's coming up this year. It's done was last done in 2019. It's done every 2 years. It's a statewide survey. It provides us with some really, really good data. It helped, when I came on board in July of 2019, we had the results from it, and that was what I think the first board report I gave was some of the results, and it showed us some things about about school climate and about what resources and assets our kids have to deal with problems and issues that they have. One of the things that came through in that one was that while our students felt cared about, they didn't necessarily feel like they had a voice in what was going on, like people were listening to them, and so in school. And that became part of our strategic plan. So the data that we get from the student survey has a real local use for us. And I think this also may give us some insight into how things have changed over time with the pandemic, because the kids that are 11th graders would have been 9th graders last year, and the kids that are 8th graders would have been 5th graders when it was done. So it's done in grades, or 7th grade, grades 5, 8, 9, and 11. And we have it scheduled out so that it will happen. 2 grades will be doing it the week of January 31st to February 4th, and then 2 grades will do that during February 7th through 11th. I will have a letter that will go out to parents before break, informing them about the survey and its purpose and their rights, that they may opt out of the survey for their child if they wish. And that there will be no information on that survey that will identify a child in any way. They don't give names, it's just their grade level. And it gets some state funding tied with it, not with the survey itself, but then the state will often decide they're going to target grant funds to a specific thing because of the data that comes through the student survey. So it'll be interesting to see how the state responds to the survey as well. But for us, it has some real local meaning because, it was a driving factor in some of our strategic planning and the things that we're doing now, the student cabinet that we formed and meeting with the student leaders and having them present at our board meetings. All of that came about because of what we saw here. So I'm kind of excited that we're going to be doing that again. We're still working on our website refresh. We had a working meeting today, accomplished a lot. I'd love to be able to show you some of it, but I think it's too in draft stage yet to be able to, but I'm hoping that we can go live with it sometime after the first of the year. But it's really, and we've been pleased with how easy it is for us to put things on there. And our current website is not easy to refresh and update. So we got a lot of pictures posted today and things, and the way that we can message, we can post a message to Facebook and to our website and send it off to our families on instant alert all at the same time, one message, and I can do it from here. So yeah, it's exciting for us. We're having we have a cooperative with Head Start where they help with our early childhood programming. They provide a para in one of the 4-year-old classrooms, and then they provide some furniture and some consumables. They have a federal vaccine and mask requirement that they cannot get around. It's been written into their Head Start program there at the federal level. It's more than just the Biden administration saying you must do this. It's Head Start itself saying it. So they have a vaccine requirement and a mask requirement for everyone in the program, adults, children alike. Well, the vaccine not for children, but for all the adults, and masking for everyone. And what we're finding in our area, of course, is that conflicts with what we're doing as a school, and we're not the only school that's having this issue. I've talked to the Head Start director. What we already have our own para and our own teacher in that program, so we actually have 3 adults in there working with 10 children, and so we feel that we can be fully staffed even if they pull their program para and use that person to go out and do home visits with their clientele, because we've got, I think, 4 Head Start qualified students. It doesn't affect our funding, and even if it did, we'd have backup funds from some of those federal ESSER funds that we put into early childhood. We've agreed to kind of disengage. Once this takes effect, they will be doing home visits. We will provide the classroom instruction that we've been doing, and the furniture stays, because we hope to, in next year, that we'll be able to pick right back up where we left off, and that they can come back in, and so some of our kids are getting dual services. There's just a couple other things that aren't on my report. Mr. Crump mentioned the gifts for students. We have collected gifts for 82 students throughout the district, and that is in large part to the work that Tina and Ellen have put together on this. It's something that they do every year, and we have, staff will we don't know names. All we know is, we're buying a gift for a 2nd grade boy or a 10th grade girl, or we just get that list, and people volunteer to buy gifts. We wrap them up, bring them in to Tina, and Tina and some of her friends have done quilts for some of the kids, and this has been an annual thing for a very long time, and the numbers keep going up. I think the first year I was here, it was maybe 50 some, and now we're getting 82 that are being identified as being in need. It's just an incredible effort and undertaking on their part, and it's also an amazing generosity from the staff who are willing to do this.
How long have you been doing this, Tina?
Well, this program will, I'd say about 15 years, but before that I was doing some clothes for some needy families, and I've been doing it about a little bit longer. So.
Well, thank you. Yes, I've been in your office. I felt like I had a whole bunch of Christmas presents coming. I know it means a lot to you. So
and it's a good feeling, and knowing that you can help somebody that really needs it. Get something you can give. So.
Thank you. Over the next month and a half, 2 months, we will be working on a civil rights data report. The Office of Civil Rights, Federal Office of Civil Rights, collects data. Typically, they do it every 2 to 3 years. What I saw in the email from them was they actually collected some of this last year as well. They're kind of looking at what happened with pandemic things and how does that affect. They look at all kinds of things. They look at discipline reports. They look at our staffing and how, our ratio of staff to students are, how many of our staff are identified as a person of color, or, just all kinds of different information. It's a very time-consuming report, and we will be working on that until just before February 28th, which is when it's due. So that will be a big undertaking for all of us in the offices for the next little bit. And then the crisis manual, I have asked Mr. Crump to send that my way. I think we need to do some updating and looking at it, and that's something I'm gonna, in the past, the high school principal has been in charge of that, but I think that's something that I'm gonna take off his plate, because we're also looking at programming and classes and course offerings, and how do we refresh and update, and I prefer that he be working with that. So after January 1st, we'll be pulling some people together to work on that crisis manual and just make some upgrades and updates. And we have places on there, evacuation sites that have like the name of the person that owned the property 30 years ago. So I think we need to take a look at some of that. And the last thing I want to talk about, right now, we have 0 people in quarantine. Yeah, and that was as of Monday. Through the last month, we've been running between 1 and 4 people in quarantine, and primarily from family contacts. I did a quick survey with the COVID response team. The response was pretty much unanimous. We are going to recommend that we go to no longer quarantining close contacts at school when we return from Christmas break. If it's a close contact in the home, if someone in the home has COVID, then of course they would need to quarantine. But at school, if it's just a quick thing, we will notify families that their child was exposed and give them the option to quarantine if they so choose. And we will go through the symptoms with them and make sure that they're watching for symptoms and that we're watching for symptoms, and we're going to do our best to keep kids in school.
Great. You guys have handled this well. Are we still providing test kits and stuff?
We have test kits available. Nikki said she's been sending some home at the elementary. We have them. We will be getting a supply of the rapid ones for staff use as well. And then we have the vault tests for student or staff use. Vault tests are PCR tests. And so we have testing capability, or we have testing availability. We are not doing the testing ourselves, but we have it available. So, and by then, any elementary student whose family wants them to be vaccinated can be, unless they're under 5. And yeah, we just want kids in school. And in talking with Sarah Reese, she talks about it as being, we're kind of reaching that endemic stage, which means that we have to live with it. And we can't keep sending kids home.
Did Polk County Health change their stance on that at all? I know last time we had met, they were a little iffy on it, or?
She's said that they will support whatever we choose to do, because we're reaching that endemic stage, and we do have to learn. We do have to learn to live with it. And we have our reasons, and our data would support what we're doing.
Well, you have flexibility to adjust.
Yes, we can adjust if we need to. That's it for my report today.
Questions or anything for Superintendent Chase? Thank you.
Yeah, sorry.
No, that's fine. We will move on to personnel. Everybody should have the information for 7.1, and it's to approve or not approve a request for family medical leave for elementary special education teacher. And it looks like this would be effective approximately March 26th of 2022. Like I said, everybody has the information, supporting information. Superintendent Chase, anything to add to that?
Yeah.
If not, it is your recommendation.
It is our recommendation.
So, okay. So be looking for a motion to approve or not approve.
Motion to approve. Second.
The second, was that you, Justin? Okay, motion by Director Trillo, second by Director Manicki to approve the request for family medical leave for elementary special education teacher. Any other discussion? In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Nothing in educational.
Do we have to approve the coaching list, or is that just?
That was in the
That was the consent agenda.
Oh, I missed that. My apologies.
And
Passed. It's just been a separate item.
what's that? Yeah,
It
it
passed.
has.
Just on a separate item. I would have looked at.
You good with it? So we will move on to 9.1, which is authorize administration to seek bids for sale of bus 10. It's the 2001 International 84-passenger school bus, which was formerly the activities bus.
Yes.
And go ahead if you have anything to add to it.
Well, it's taking up space. I still need to get
Does
to
it
that.
run?
It runs,
Is that the one?
it runs. It's not, there's no guarantees that go with it that it will continue to run. It will start and it will, you can drive it down the road, but
Sounds like a great. That's the one we just replaced, wasn't it?
that's the one we replaced, yeah. So, yeah.
5 years ago, we'd be driving it still.
Yeah, that's scary.
New camper, RV.
Well, that looked good,
Already
right?
already got one of those.
Sure.
Yeah.
Dustin could stop by and tell him to move it once. Okay, let's stay on track here. So we're looking for a motion to authorize the administration to seek bids for bus.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Director Trillo, second by Director Manicki to authorize administration to seek bids for sale of bus 10, 2001 International 84-passenger school bus. Any other discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Any other reports from anybody? I think we had our work session, I think fairly successful. Came up with some good ideas to take over into the January meeting. Let's see where we go with that.
I think just summarize a couple things from LTFM. From our work session on December 2nd, based off of that, we were kind of looking at the 2022 budget, and the majority of that stuff has been completed. I think there was some additional roof repairs that need to be done, but high school dishwasher replacement is set to occur, I think, over Christmas break. And then freezer and cooler replacement, hopefully will be replaced by June timeframe. Structural, brick analysis over on the 37, that was completed, end of November, I think we got that back. And then had the tree removal over here too, so just about everything that was planned for 2022 was taken care of. Now, as we were looking at just budgeting, we pushed out some tuck pointing for the 37 just to take a deeper look into overall direction that we might want to take or make recommendations for that. So we're still in the process of looking at forming a committee to dig deeper into that. But when you take a look at the overall funds each year, roughly $240,000 for LTFM funds. I think it's earmarked $70,000 for bond payments for the next 8 years. And we've got maintenance allowances of $50,000 to $70,000. So we're looking at $120,000 of usable funds for maintaining or anything else that comes up or that needs to be replaced. When we start looking at the tuck pointing allowance of $100,000 for the 37 structure, we've got some real concerns as far as if we're able to keep up with maintenance of that based off those funds. So that's where it kind of comes into having a more focused committee just for that structure and figuring out options for long-term success for the overall building. So other than that, I think Superintendent Chase had mentioned the leftover bond funds, roughly about $155,000. The committee was discussing as far as finishing up some tuck pointing, the south side of the elementary school, also in the courtyard of the high school, and then using some funds for the elementary equipment for the bond funds leftover.
You got your playground.
Yeah. Where did I say?
You just said equipment. I would just.
Oh, equipment. Okay, sorry. And then there was discussion about new scoreboards too. Still more research to be done with that. I guess there's about $20,000 set aside for new scoreboards. The lead time on that or order time is about 3 months out, so we we weren't seeing it happening for the basketball season this year. And then there's some discussion as far as what type, if we go LED video boards with some, some additional capabilities and some opportunities for training of students and a new class too, or some basic scoreboards too. So that is kind of still being worked on.
You guys have been busy.
So,
Any other reports? Anything? Matt, anything? Okay. So looking forward, so we get through a busy time of year. So Thursday, we have our Truth and Taxation hearing, 6 p.m. in this room, in the boardroom here. And then approximately 6:50, we will have a special meeting just to approve the levy for after the Truth and Taxation. So that, I think from our last conversation at the work session, we would have a quorum here, or the people that said they'd be here. It is important that we have that so we get that approved. The other thing we're looking at is first part of January.